Good afternoon and welcome to my humble model railway, Bedstead Junction. It's Thursday the 23rd of June, I believe, 2022. Second day of the National Rail Strike. But we've got a special exemption for this particular train that will be running today. It's a new addition to my layout. And I've been waiting in quite a good fair bit of anticipation for this to arrive. Let's give a little bit of praise to the seller and to the post office. This arrived very, very quickly after I placed my order. So I'm very, very pleased with what I've actually got here. Now, it'll be quite obvious what we've got in just a moment. Now, first of all, we'll just show you how it actually comes, okay? Now, we are talking about R2785 BR Green 9F Evening Star number 92220. Okay, I hope I got the twos right there. Yeah, 9220. Okay. You probably see the prices on the box there. I got £57, £63. I think I paid 65 for it, but anyway, that was what I bid for it. It comes with in the usual packaging there, which is polystyrene packaging, not the block of ice packaging, which is happens with quite a few of the railroad models. Comes with this instructions how to DCC fit, with a little sleeve there. And then in addition to that, you'll also find a little detail pack which just contains a couple of steam pipes there. Only we've seen there, steam or vacuum pipes. Okay, so that's everything you actually get in the package. And of course you'll probably, some of you will be saying, well, what about the train? Well, we'll be moving on to that in just a moment. I'm just going to get to my railing ramp. Oh, and before we run the train, we will have a look at the instructions that came with it. It comes with the usual instructions there about the class 9F, various sort of general advice front and back there, and then inside advice where to oil the locomotive, body removal, and the fitting of the DCC chip, which looks like that actually goes inside the locomotive itself, which is probably fine on a locomotive this size. I mean, you would expect there to be plenty of room inside that body. Now, it's quite hot in here today. 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees centigrade, so that's quite hot in this room. So please excuse me if I make one or two errors or things like that, slip up a little bit, because this heat in this room is beginning to fry me a little. What we're going to do then is we shall put the locomotive onto the track. Now, what the method I always use to put the locomotive onto the track is I always use a railing ramp. So you see me just put that in place now. And then we'll get her onto the track and we'll talk a little bit more about the actual train itself. Right, so bear with me just a moment. Okay, let's I think that looks okay to me. Let's see if I can reach across and get the locomotive. There we are. We got the locomotive coupled together. They do come separate to each other. The actual locomotive and the tender are joined together by a kind of a pin. Okay, a bit like the old Hornby Railroad, the old Hornby Railroad motor ones. Now I've had a little look inside the tender of this locomotive just out of curiosity, and yes, it's very much like the like the Railroad motor. In fact, inside the tender is a chassis to accommodate the Railroad motor, so that's all still in there. But what they've done with Hornby on this railroad version, they've actually placed the motor now, a new type of motor, and that's inside the locomotive itself. Okay, now it's a like I say, it's a 210 2 leading wheels and 10 driving wheels, no wheels under the cab. And these locomotives were designed by British Rail for very, very heavy freight trains. But we'll come on to how these were used for passenger trains as well, especially in the West Country. Now what we'll do is let's see what she's like moving forwards. Beautiful. And we'll try going backwards. Wonderful. Okay. Right, so what we'll do is we'll let her go round a little bit. We'll watch her go around the tracks. And I'm going to talk about the 9Fs. I haven't done a huge amount of research on the 9Fs, apart from the fact I know that they were used on the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway from about 1960 onwards. Okay, and that's what we're going to, this is the context of this particular one we've got here today. Okay, very smooth runner, very, very pleased with this. Okay. Very, very grateful to the post office for delivering this very, very promptly, and also to the seller for dispatching it and in such excellent condition. What a lovely locomotive. Okay, so round she comes. Very, very smooth and quiet. Now, this particular locomotive, Evening Star, was a very, very lasting locomotive produced for British Railways, and it also was a very, very lasting locomotive produced at Swindon Works. Okay, so the Swindon Works, where they would have been producing the famous Stars, Castles, Kings. This was the final send-off of steam at Swindon Works. From then on, Swindon Works will be occupied in building diesel locomotives. Now, the 9Fs were moved on to the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway in 1960, very much to alleviate an engine problem which they were getting, and that's that express engines were getting not really up to the task of pulling the trains. I mean, they needed to double head on many occasions with trains like the Pines Express and the through trains from the north, and it was decided to move these onto the Somerset and Dorset with a view to these operating single-handedly, so they would be able to pull the long express trains over the Somerset and Dorset without any assistance. And they proved to do that very, very well. Now, Evening Star came onto the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway in 1962, 2 years after it was built, to pull the last Pines Express. They say the Pines Express being run between Manchester and Bournemouth. And in fact, from the September 62 onwards, all through trains from the north were brought to a close. They were actually stopped. And then the Somerset and Dorset was going to be used mainly as a local service. Evening Star came back off the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway though in 1963. It was said to alleviate an engine shortage. Now we'll have a closer look. Now, if any of you have seen 9Fs, you know, in books and and on videos, you'll probably observe that 9Fs are normally black. Okay, but because this was the last locomotive produced by Swindon Works, it was given some good sort of Swindon touches. And we'll have a look at that in just a moment. Many of you are probably well acquainted with this already, but we'll have a quick look now and just see. Okay, now let's bring it right down near the camera. That's close enough, I should imagine. It was given a beautiful copper cap double chimney. Okay, very, very, very nice. Now, while we're looking at this, we're looking at what I say like the Hornby Railroad model. Now, railroad models are produced for cost, obviously to bring the cost down, and also to give the model more durability. And I'm very much a fan of both of those features. Okay, I like my models to be able to stand being played with and to be ridden around my track. Now we'll take a look at some of the things on there now. You don't get sprung buffers, or you do. You know, I was going to say you don't get sprung buffers, and you do get sprung buffers. So it proves I can be wrong about some things. Well, that's a feature over and above what you would expect to get on a Hornby Railroad model. So now you've got something which is even more of a bargain than was originally first thought. The smoke box dart is moulded on. Okay. Well, as I've said in many my previous videos, a separately fitted smoke box dart, it's okay as long as they don't end up separately fitted in the bottom of the box, which happened to me once. And I had to send the locomotive back because it was a star class. I had to send that back because it had various things that broken off of it. Probably due to how it was handled in transit more than anything else. But when you've got a moulded on smoke box dart, you're never going to get that trouble. But it does have separately fitted handrails here on either side of the smoke deflectors. On the front of the smoke box there. Got a little coupling hook there on the front of the buffer there. The couplings themselves are standard size D couplings. I don't mind that. I mean, a lot of my rolling stock goes back to the 1970s, 80s and 90s. And to be honest with you, I find the larger D type coupling is probably more compatible with most of my rolling stock anyway. Okay, so that's superb. It's got a... Now I'm about to lose my battery in just a moment, so what I'm going to do is we're going to have a quick battery change in just a moment, so we'll come back to the video in just a few seconds. So if you please excuse me, I'm going to stop the video now and then we're going to come back and do the battery change. Right, now sorry about that little slight break in continuity there. I've just actually fitted in a fresh battery. And that's a tip for any of you starting off. If you've just bought yourself a camera or a camcorder, whatever you're using, if you can, get at least one spare battery, which is what I've done for this particular camera I'm using today. So I was able to swap batteries over without having to wait to charge up again. Now, where were we? Oh yeah, we were describing this locomotive. So I think we've looked at the copper cap chimney. It also has got whistles there. I think they're actual metal. Now there will be a fair amount of moulded on details on this particular locomotive, but to me I think they've got it is a good balance for me between durability, really. That's what we're looking at, durability. In fact, detail and durability, that was the balance I was looking for. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, so let's bring it around just a little bit more now. Right, so we can see now, you've got the, I don't know if you can read it from where we are now, Evening Star there. Okay, the last locomotive built for British Railways at Swindon. And then obviously it would bear the late speed R crest, because that was a crest adopted from 1956 onwards. Okay, now this particular railroad model, again, it's got some over and above features. It's got a fully glazed cab. You know, the more I look at this locomotive, the more I'm pleased. It's got a separately fitted handrails down here. Wire handrails, beautiful. The details on top the firebox there, they're all moulded on. I mean, there's a number of moulded on details, like the, I don't think the top moves on there, but then, you know, that's not essential for me. Excuse my fingers getting in the way. We're just quite close to the controller here. Now you can see on there as well a slightly high coal load, and that would have been to accommodate the Ringfield motor, which was once in the tender of these. Like I say, but they've now got the the motor inside the locomotive itself. Bring it around a little bit more. Excuse my hand getting in the way. And on the back of the tender there, I don't know if you can see it, there's a ladder on the back of the tender there. The water filler and everything else. Very nice. Sprung buffers on the back too. Yes. The cab is not painted. Okay, it's not got a painted cab, but then it's fairly well enclosed. Now, one thing which Hornby have achieved here, and I don't know if you can see it from here, I might have to bring it back just a little. I don't know if you can see it in this light, but there's a fairly reasonable gap between the tender and the locomotive here. Okay, there's a bit of a height difference, but you know, rather than have an actual full plate there, but it does look quite nice actually. It doesn't appear to be an enormous gap between the tender and the locomotive. Okay, what we'll do is we're gonna take around the track a little bit more now. So let's watch her go around there. We'll also go through my country station in just a moment. Now I may have to stop filming at some point because the heat in this room is beginning to become quite intense. Okay, here we go. Evening Star coming around now. I was going to put her on the Lazy Susan, and I may do that in just a moment, so we can have a closer look at her from level down, and then we can also do a recap of some of the main features of this locomotive. Now, I'm not going to try this one over points today. I think possibly I've heard rumours of there being one or two difficulties with points on these with these. Whether that's right or not, I don't know. I mean, it may require me putting in a bit of weight under the front bogie. We'll have a look at that in just a moment. I'll probably test that as well, just to see how we go with it. But obviously we'll need to put into a station with this, and also into the freight yard as well. So it'd be nice to know how this one actually handles this. It's quite a long locomotive. Now I think, and I'm going to probably be corrected here if I'm wrong by somebody, these locomotives did not have flanges on the middle wheels, on the middle set of driver wheels. Obviously to deal with the length of the wheelbase of the locomotive and to enable it to take the various bends on the track. Okay, but we'll have a look at that. It's going around my second radius curve quite well here. Very nice indeed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to try her into the station in just a moment. We'll stop up at the signal. There we are. So we stopped up at the signal up there, waiting to come in, and we're going to try it over the simplest set of points, I think, to start with, which is going to be literally coming around the second radius curve really over two sets of points, two right hand sets of points, and straight on into the station. So let's just have a quick look and see. I'll try and manoeuvre around without kicking the tripod over. Okay, let's take a look now. So I'll bring her there and there. Okay, so now I think this one will need to be I'm going to drive it quite gingerly, I think, today, just to test over the points. Then if there is any kind of derailment, we won't get too much trouble with it. Okay, let's have a look. So I'll bring her around very, very, very slowly. No, went over those points very, very well, so no problem with the points there. And you'll see it's running into the station very happily there without me even touching the controller. Now that over my kind of track there, where I take the chuck down at the end of every running session to put it all away. It's not permanently fixed. It's not permanently fixed to the baseboard. Okay, so for this locomotive to handle those the points there and handle the siding in the way it did, very, very satisfactory. Very, very happy with that. Let's reverse it back. And I think what we'll do is we'll have just a second for imagination and reflection. Okay, of course, my station here looks nothing like Green Park Station, but perhaps we can imagine this one putting the last Pines Express out of Green Park Station. I cannot remember if the last Pines Express ran north to south, or it could be running into Green Park. I can't remember whether it went north to south or south to north. I don't know. Can't remember. So someone might be able to fill me in on that one. We can imagine it at Green Park with the last Pines Express. Perhaps we can imagine Ivo Peters by the side of the line filming it. Definitely a recommendation if you wish to get some DVDs on the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. There's a set of DVDs by a film by Ivo Peters, which will give you a lot of information on the S&D. Now we're going to try it over a bit more of a complicated junction now. So it's going over the point into a rather sharp bend, and this should be quite a test of its prowess on points and curves. So just bear with me again. I'm just moving forward to change the points. There we go. So we're nearly there, and then we'll draw this into the station now. So let's go forward, and again we'll go very, very slowly, very gingerly over these points, and we'll see how it handles them. Perfection. I had no reason at all to worry about this one going over points. In fact, if you have a look now, I'll bring the tripod round. I couldn't follow it round then. I was busy on the controller. Well, let's watch it go forward and backwards at the end of this siding. That is very, 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 very nice. I mean, for me, obviously, controllability is essential, because obviously I'm very, very dangerously close. So you can see I'm my hand in the way there to emphasise it. I'm very, very dangerously close towards the edge of the layout, and any errors with the controller, and I'm off this side of the layout onto the floor. Okay. Just having a closer look at it myself now while she's in the siding. What a beautiful model. What an absolutely beautiful model. Okay, so we don't need to have any, in my opinion at least, no worries about this locomotive's performance over points. Right, now I think what we'll do is we'll have a quick look on the Lazy Susan, and then we might be able to bring this particular video to an end. Okay, please excuse me if I've made any mistakes in this video and in my narration. It's a little bit hot in here today, and pardon me. I'm beginning to reach baking points now. I think I'm probably cooked now. Time to get me out of the oven. Yeah, still 80 degrees here. Right, okay, so let's get the Lazy Susan and we'll see if we can put this one on and have a closer look at her. Perfect. Right, let's go and fetch my locomotive. Oh, brilliant, that is superb. Okay, onto the... Quite a long locomotive actually, just about fits onto the Lazy Susan. And we'll come down a little bit slower as well. We'll have a proper look at her. Right. Let's just increase the intensity of this light a little. There we are, so we're quite well illuminated now. Zoom in perhaps just a little. Right, so to recap some of the points while she's on the Lazy Susan, you've got the name Evening Star right there. It's got the beautiful copper cap chimney. I think the whistles are made, that's the whistles there, they're made out of metal. Okay. A little bit of moulded detail on top of the cab and the actual vent at the top of the cab there. That is all moulded on, that look, those few parts there. Fully glazed cab. The number represented and 9F, 9 and then treble 20, 92220. You've got our late BR crest there as well. A full coal load, because these do... I've looked, I did have a sneaky look inside this actually. Inside the tender is the, there's still the sort of chassis where you would have fitted the old Wingfield motor, okay, which of course is just empty now. And there is in fact the motor is in fact inside the locomotive body. You can clearly see the 210 wheel configuration there, and all of the running gear. Come around to the front. Nine treble 20. And just to confirm for you there, I don't know if you see my thumb running out, but there, it definitely has got sprung buffers, okay. A bonus feature I wasn't expecting. Very much similar on the other side, so we're zoomed in now. We can clearly see Evening Star now there. And all that fantastic running gear there. Wonderful to watch this going around the track. The fully glazed cab. And then we'll come on to the back end of the tender there. You can see the ladder on the back of there. Presumably that's so that the person can reach the water filler. There's also separately fitted handrails here and here. Handrails at the top of the tender just there. So really, what a fantastic locomotive. Really is a superb locomotive. Okay, now if you ask me, would I recommend this locomotive for you to buy? Well, if you can pick it up as a railroad version, you'll probably be picking up second hand on the internet now. If you can get it for a reasonable price, I'd say a great big huge yes, yes, yes. Okay, we'll come back on here now to the zoomed in view. Now, if you like what you see, please give me the thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. It does make a big difference in my channel if you subscribe for me. Okay. I should thank you very, very much for your interest and watching this through to the end. I should bid you farewell and bye-bye. And I think I'm going to, before I go and get this video edited, I'm nipping downstairs and I've got some Iceland branded cornettos in the freezer, and I'm just about to have one of those just to cool down, okay? And then I'll put this video out for you later this afternoon for you to see, okay? So again, once again, thank you very, very much for watching, and I should bid you farewell and goodbye.